Next topic. Israel announced this week that it fired on Hezbollah militants who, quote, crept into its territory in what Israel's Prime Minister called a serious security incident. Now, the Israel Defense Forces said up to 4 militants crossed the border at the Mount Dov area and part of the Israeli-occupied Syrian Golan Heights. There's a clue in there. They said Syrian, not Israeli. And the IDF said the terrorists fled back to Lebanon after being shot at. Now, this area has been tense for many days after a Hezbollah fighter was killed in an alleged Israeli airstrike in Syria. It's not alleged at all. It took place. But predictably, Israel has neither confirmed nor denied it carried out the strike in the early hours of last Monday and had warned Hezbollah not to retaliate. So they didn't confirm they did it and didn't deny it, but they're asking them not to retaliate. Okay. I guess they're not too bright in that department either. But have you ever heard of such bullshittery to justify killing more people than that? 4 Hezbollah crossed the border, and bear in mind Hezbollah are funded by the Mossad and others, went into their territory. Hello, you've been illegally in their territory since your fake creation as a state and country since 1948. Oops. But all's not well in Israel also. Finally, and I must give massive kudos to the Israeli people, they're standing up. They're finally realising that this corrupt regime who say they're Jews when they're not, and they're fighting back. And it said hundreds of people, it was actually thousands, not hundreds, protested outside the Israeli Prime Minister's Benjamin Netanyahu's official residence in Jerusalem and in Tel Aviv on Tuesday, and pressing forward with a more than month-long campaign calling on the long-time leader to step down. Now, public discontent with the government's handling of the coronavirus outbreak and the resulting economic crisis has drawn thousands, including many young Israelis, to a twice-weekly protests demanding Netanyahu resign from office while on trial for corruption. And demonstrators chanted the slogan that has become the rally cry for the protests against Netanyahu while he stands trial of capital, regime and underworld. What an interesting terminology that is, underworld. Now, Mr. Nutty Asshole is on trial for a series of cases in which he received lavish gifts from billionaire friends and traded regulatory favours with media moguls for more favourable coverage of himself and his family. A bit like Trudeau then. And the Prime Minister has denied any wrongdoing. Must be Day of Atonement every day for him. And is accusing the media, which they run, and law enforcement, which they run, of a witch hunt to oust him from office, and has refused to leave office. Now, the protests against Netanyahu are the largest the country has seen since the 2011 rallies demanding for economic reform. While they have largely been peaceful, police have arrested dozens for public disturbance and have drawn charges of using excessive force against protesters. No surprise there either. But perhaps the Israeli citizens need to arm themselves with a few more facts on Mr. Netanyahu that would help them, like the fact that he's involved in a free oil deal he has with Bush, Obama and the Ayatollah Khamenei. You know, Mr. Khamenei, he of the great enemy country of Israel called Iran. Yes, Mr. Netanyahu, you're doing oil deals with Iran. Next, as predicted last year, and bizarrely predicted in certain other circles, and despite the fact that vaccines often take 10 to 12 years to develop and deliver, the Israeli researchers would have us believe that because of some, quote, pure luck, unquote, they could have a new vaccine for the coronavirus ready for the market within the next 90 days. And the Israeli scientists say they are on the cusp of developing the first vaccine against the coronavirus, according to Science and Technology Minister Ophir Akunus. And they said if all goes as planned, the vaccine could be ready within a few weeks and available in 90 days. Congratulations to MEGAL, which is the Galilee Research Institute. Sounds like John Hopkins Centre to me. On this exciting breakthrough, Mr. Akunus said, and he said, I'm confident there will be further rapid progress enabling us to provide a needed response to the grave global COVID-19 threat. Let's call it pure luck, he said. We decided to choose coronavirus as a model for our system, just as a proof of concept for our technology. If you believe that, you'll believe anything. But after scientists sequenced the DNA of the novel coronavirus causing the current worldwide outbreak, the MEGAL researchers examined it and found that poultry coronavirus, blue chickens, has high genetic similarity to the human one, and that it uses the same infection mechanism, which increases the likelihood of achieving an effective human vaccine in a very short period of time. Jackasses. And they said, all we need to do is adjust the system to the new sequence, he said, and we are in the middle of this process, and hopefully in a few weeks, sounds like Drake, we'll have the vaccine on our hands, or in our hands, or perhaps even have them on their hands. Given the urgent global need for the vaccine, we are doing everything we can to accelerate development. According to David Zigdon, the vaccine could achieve safety approval in just 90 days, he said. Then they said this: it will be an oral vaccine, making it particularly accessible to the general public. Oops. So, what they're saying here, it was just pure luck. And if you believe that, you'll believe absolutely anything. In fact, most people believe in the most bizarre conspiracy theories like this one, that they've lost the ability to believe what slaps them right in the face now. So a vaccine that normally takes 10 to 12 years to process and deliver is now down to being delivered within 90 days, which just happens to coincide with the dates given in our Expose 2 show, does it not? Did we not say October? But it's kind of interesting that they say it's an oral dose now and not needle. And that should not be lost or missed by people. Or the fact that this week Dr. Michael Levitt, a Stanford professor, claimed that the COVID-19 in the US will basically be over in the next 4 weeks. One has to ask the common sense question: why do we need the vaccine at all if it's all over in 4 weeks? The answer is we didn't, and the vaccine is not for our health, but the next stage of them controlling us with technology. That's exactly what the vaccine is. Technology.